Hi, my name is Steve Kilburn. I am the Grant Projects Director at the Chautauqua County Department of Mental Hygiene. And I also, as a part of that work, oversee the Chautauqua Substance Abuse Response Partnership. This is a partnership of agencies from across Chautauqua County who are working to combat addiction. Agencies in the fields of prevention, treatment, recovery, and harm reduction, coming together to coordinate our efforts to address addiction here in our county. We have been putting together this series of videos that we have called Let's Heal Together, Conversations to Combat Addiction. I'm very excited today to be able to talk to Cynthia New of the Resource Center about their Personalized Recovery-Oriented Services, or PROS program. Let's turn now to our conversation with Cynthia. I'm going to ask Cynthia to introduce herself and tell us about the PROS program.
My name is Cynthia New. I am the program manager of our Personalized Recovery-Oriented Services, otherwise known as PROS. We do have 2 locations for our PROS programs, one in Dunkirk and one in Jamestown. So we are lucky in that way so that we can have opportunities from everyone within the county to travel to the closest location possible for them. So I also do behavioral health, home and community-based services. So it's a collaboration between our PROS program and those services. So we're able to do both PROS and behavioral health, home and community-based services in the community. So we can come to you. We're very flexible. We have the opportunity to do on-site services as well. And right now during COVID precautionary measures, we are doing telehealth so for both our classes and for our individual sessions.
So are there any of the programs taking place on-site right now, or are they all telehealth?
So for PROS, we are providing services on-site. We have 25% of our census that's allowed on-site. So we have about 20 in our Dunkirk location, and we're able to have 15 in our Jamestown location. We are doing hybrid classes. So we have the ability for people to be on-site and off-site during the time. So people who are a little bit more cautious about trying to get out in the community during COVID right now, or have childcare issues, we have the ability for them to link into a Zoom class and be able to participate with their peers who are on-site.
Yeah, I think that is terrific. So tell us a little bit more. Let's say I were enrolled in the program. What would I expect to experience?
So as we mentioned, it's a personalized program. So each individual will come in. We will review what they prefer in life. So what are their life role goals? So we really don't look as much at the mental health symptoms. We look at them as barriers to what they're able to achieve in life. So we identify their strengths first. We try to look at, with those strengths, what can we do to help you overcome those barriers so that you can actually achieve your life role goal. So it's all about being able to be an active member of society, trying to make sure that you're working with your team in a holistic fashion, trying to make sure that we're really looking at those strengths. I can't emphasize that enough. The strengths are like the most important part of PROS. But you also have the opportunity to sit down and identify what barriers you have had in the past, what services have you tried, what was successful, what wasn't successful, and how can we build upon those successes. So we look at that piece. We'll develop a treatment plan based on those barriers and strengths to be able to help you achieve those goals. So it might incorporate so many individual sessions with your primary clinician. It could incorporate the employment specialist who can come in and work on employment and education goals. We have a certified peer on staff that's able to sit down and help you identify how you can overcome barriers with your socialization, community integration, developing skills for accessing community resources. And we also have the clinical piece that you're able to participate in as well. So we look at each component of the PROS menu of services to try to see which ones will meet you best. And we do that integrated care. So we have both substance use and addiction and mental health.
Right. So let's say that I do come in and, as you described, I'll meet with people, we'll talk about my goals and the barriers to meeting those goals and come up with a plan. How often am I going to possibly come in and engage in this treatment?
So again, I go back to that personalized structure. So we really look at a minimum of 2 hours a month of services to a maximum of every single day for 5 hours. So
Wow.
it can really adjust to that individual's needs. So we want to make sure that the individual comes in, be able to identify if they need the classes on top of the individual sessions. We do quite a bit of intense relapse prevention. So we'll look at that piece with the individual. If we have medication-assisted treatment as part of their goals and for recovery goals, we'll actually work through that process for them to be able to identify, am I in my beginning stages of recovery? Where am I at in my stages of recovery?
Yeah, that is really such personalized and a high level of treatment with frequency that, as you said, can be up to every day for 5 hours, but conforming to whatever my needs and interests are. And just to underscore, I think what you did just say, if I were to come in, again, maybe struggling with an opioid problem, the potential, at least, is that I could be started through the PROS program on medication-assisted treatment.
Absolutely. Yep. So if an individual has an opiate use disorder and they are really struggling with keeping the recovery moving forward, and they want to take steps, but they're not quite sure where they're at, they can come in, we can assess that need and start them in on medication-assisted treatment. We have the ability to look at the prescription and support with Narcan, so we can make sure the individual is safe and have harm reduction as we work through the process.
So you really are geared to address a host of struggles in order to help people accomplish, as you said, the goals that they have. And one of the things that I think is also a huge benefit of being involved in the program, as I understand it, is that while I can and will come in and meet individually with a counselor, as I understand it, but I will also have opportunity to interact with other people who are also in recovery or working through some things, so that there is a kind of community element where I'm connected with other people, which, well, first, that's kind of how the program is designed. Am I right?
It is. So peer support is actually an evidence-based practice.
Yep.
So we do have the opportunity to learn from each other, support each other, be able to identify that you're not alone in a very welcoming environment.
We often hear, and rightly, because it's a truth, that the opposite of addiction is connection. And it's so important to have a community of folks who understand, who, as you said, can support each other, give each other the encouragement that's needed. And further then, so the opportunity to come in for these programming elements exists, but so too does the opportunity to stay at home and participate.
For right now.
Yeah, for now, right. And for the, I guess, foreseeable future, none of us really know, I guess, how these regulations are going to play out long term, but at least in the moment, if I were interested in these services, but maybe leaving home is just really stressful. Right. I could still participate, though. I could get the services remotely. Tell us more about that. How does that work?
So we utilize Zoom. So we do have the opportunity to do classes and individual sessions, so you can at least see your counselor or see your class that you're participating in with your peers. So what we do is we have a class description. So it identifies what the class is, what the description of that class is, what the link of it for the Zoom class, what's the password, what are all those special codes that you need to do. So you have the ability to link in if you have a smart device or a laptop or a desktop to do that piece. But there's also the phone number available so that you can actually call in if you don't have that smartphone capability. So we have that piece as well where we can do it telephonically. So we do submit that in. We will either email it to you, mail it to you, or give it to you over the telephone. Our clinicians are mobile, so they are able, if you're within a certain range of our location, may drop it off to you at your porch. So we have been able to do that and connect with individuals and make sure that they have the access that they need.
Yeah, again, it's really, terrific. And I do think one of the other things that you have said is that to some degree, services can be actually, or maybe transportation offered at least. So let's say, again, I'm interested. I think this would be a really helpful service at wherever I'm at in life right now, but I don't have any way to get there.
Mm-hmm. So if you don't have any way to get here, we do have a van for each of our programs. We do make some special accommodations as needed to where either we'll come and get the individual and help them, especially if there's a work barrier. So the individual got to work, however, there's no transportation to get from work during their break to their medical appointment. We might work out something with those pieces. But also we have our clinical team and our peer specialists that can go out in the community and see you where you're at. So you don't have to leave. So we can either, meet in the break room or outside of your work location, or, say you're not comfortable with us coming into your home, but you're close to the library or Tim Hortons or a park, we can absolutely meet with you out in the community.
That is a really remarkable level of service, and I hope is of encouragement to those for whom the barriers either of transportation or maybe anxiety or what have you keeps them from accessing treatment. There are ways to accommodate that today.
There is. Absolutely. Yeah. We're very flexible in that manner. We try to make sure that we have access available to everybody that needs it. So.
Yeah. Again, I think it's a terrific program, and I want more people to know about it, as I'm sure you do.
We do. We want everybody to be aware.
Yeah. We are the Chautauqua Substance Abuse Response Partnership, working together. The Resource Center is such a valuable member of that partnership, and bringing to the table, such a unique level of service. So personalized, so frequent potentially, and such a range of professional services available. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just to underscore again, Dunkirk and Jamestown both have PROS programs.
We do, yeah.
Well, on a sort of more personal side, what is it about the kind of work that you do, Cynthia, that really just strikes a deep chord within you?
So what has really kept me in this program and really with this structure is that it really looks at the strengths of an individual. We really don't look at the symptoms. We want to make sure that we are focusing on the individual and what they are able to do right now today and where we can get them to go to. Our program is so unique that we get to see a different side of individuals than others get to see, because we get to see it in such a variety of settings. So we get to see an individual's progress come full circle and still be able to see them, in regards to treatment, move on to another level. And still sometimes they come back and say hi. But, I think that's what really has absorbed me into this realm is that, it's because I'm completely absorbed into the psychosocial rehab piece of it, where you're really looking at the community, what resources are available out there, and really being able to have that hands-on connection to an individual. It's more unique than any other program I've been a part of. And it will melt your heart at times because you'll see, so much more accomplishment. Yes, we have hiccups in recovery. And sometimes we fall down, but our environment is actually supporting and helps you lift yourself back up. Yeah. Wipe off, the dirt a little bit and try to identify how we work around that. So I think that's where I stay in this realm.
I love that, approach, and a real clearly defined approach that says, we're working with your strengths. Mm-hmm. And to the extent that you're here because of some struggles in your life, we treat those as the barriers to fulfilling your strengths. And I think it's easy, unfortunately, when a person struggles with addiction and or a mental health problem, to almost become defined by the problem. Mm-hmm. And to hear that there is that kind of treatment and support available that says, no, we're not. You're not your diagnosis.
No, not at all. No.
Right. And yes. We want to work with you to become all that you can be, and to work through those struggles to get you to that place. Mm-hmm. Do people get better?
They do. They do.
I know they do. But I think, sometimes, and again, whether it's addiction or mental health or both, time and again, as as I talk with providers, we like to underscore the fact that in their actual experience, not just wishful thinking, but they have seen people get better, sometimes dramatically better. And I'm hearing the same from you. You see people get better.
We do. We see people get better every day. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes we fall down, and recovery sometimes takes longer for certain individuals, but we see progress every day. We see people move forward. We see people make achievements in life. And, so I don't want people to feel that it's not possible, because I think that that's where we get wore down so often in our struggles, and we don't feel that there's a way out. Yeah. And we're seeing that way out quite often by utilizing those services wrap around, get those peer supports, take advantage of what's available. And, we listen. Yeah. We're here to listen. We're here to find out what's best for you.
And I do think it is really important as well to make the point that, whatever life change that any of us might undertake, it is almost never a kind of linear, perfect, every day better than the day before. It just doesn't work that way. And that's particularly true when, a major undertaking like addressing a mental health struggle or an addiction. So there are going to be those, as you've called them, hiccups along the way. But what a support to have people around you when those hiccups, relapses, what have you, occur, to be able to say, hey, okay, let's help you get dusted off here and back on the path. In other words, if you're going to have a hiccup, you want to have it around people that are going to care about you and help you back up again.
Absolutely. And I use the analogy that sometimes pros can be utilized as a tune-up, because, our body sometimes needs a tune-up like a car. And so does our mental well-being, and when we're working towards these components. And pros can be short-term. So if you feel you're having one of those moments or a hiccup moment and you need a tune-up, individuals can come here from 1 to 3 months. Yes. And just work intensively on either relapse prevention or goal acquisition. So if they're in the process of losing a home, or they just lost their job but they need one quickly, they can come in and we can help support them. And as soon as they get it, we move them on to a lower level of care. Yeah. So we have that opportunity. Yeah. We're here.
And if there's somebody listening to this that just feels like it's all hopeless, it is not hopeless.
There's hope out there. Yep.
That the distance between you today and where you want to be is not nearly as far as you might think it is. But what you need along the way, as we all do at times, support, help, perhaps treatment of a specific sort, and it's there. It's there.
It is.
Well, Cynthia, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing about the PROS program. Again, I am a fan and want to get the word out, because I fear that it is not known enough, because it just offers such a great service. We want you to be, the phone's ringing off the hook over there.
We want to spread the word. Absolutely. Yeah.
Even more than thanking you for being a part of the video, but thank you and the whole team there, both in Jamestown and in Dunkirk, for all the great work that you folks do.
Yeah.
It really,
I have a wonderful team.
I know you do.
Yeah.
And they step in to really save lives. They step in and improve quality of life dramatically, and they do it day in and day out. So we really value what you guys do, and thank you for it.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Well, again, a very big thank you to Cynthia for participating in this video, but even more to her and all of her colleagues at the Resource Center for the great work that they do there. The Personalized Recovery-Oriented Services Program, or PROS, is such a resource. We will leave contact information accompanying this video. I want to also thank you for viewing this latest edition of Let's Heal Together, Conversations to Combat Addiction. Stay well, everyone.